Ridiculous Crime is a production of iHeartRadio.
Hey, yo, Elizabeth Dutton, what you doing?
Nothing.
How you been, girl?
Good.
I got a quick question for you.
Yeah.
You know what's ridiculous?
Oh, I do.
Oh, well,
I do.
Share it with me.
Let me drop this on you. There's a company that is partnering up with a resale retailer called ThredUp, and they're going to have 157 secondhand streetwear and designer pieces that are part of a collection.
Sure.
Why am I telling you this?
I don't hear the ridiculous part, no.
It's this is the end of my trilogy of food brands getting where they shouldn't be.
Oh, no.
So I talked about Applebee's. I talked about, what was the other one? Velveeta,
yeah.
Martinis, Velveeta Teenies.
Yeah.
Heinz Ketchup is doing the Heinz Vintage Drip Collection. Every piece comes with its own unique glob of dried ketchup.
Wait, what? I mean, I caught the whole, I can hear the marketing meeting. You know, the kids are saying, nice drip. So we're known for drips as ketchup. We should merge that synergy. I can totally hear the meeting. But what I could not anticipate is we should also put some of our product on it. What do you mean our product? Like a nice dried goop of ketchup?
So some fashion maven has to go out and collect all these vintage pieces. And then some dope has to walk around with a bottle of ketchup and just fling it at it. So each piece has some ketchup on it.
And what happens when I wash my piece?
You don't.
Because then I lose the ketchup.
Well, who washes clothes?
Long, awkward pause.
So I don't know. I don't know how you wash it. Whatever. It's ridiculous.
It's one of those things you're basically not supposed to wear. Like you buy it and you want to tell people you own it. You take pictures of it and you put it on.
I guess. Well, they said
media.
That Heinz is iconic and that
is it.
They're celebrating reuse is one of the things in the statement.
Are they?
And then they said it's for quote fashion risk takers.
Is it though?
And food lovers alike. So what are you going to buy it and then suck on it when you're hungry?
Food lovers alike. Like you can just take a little with you. We got a little flavor saver right here.
In the press release, it says they want to participate in the circular economy while doing good for the people and the planet. We hope it makes a splash or drip.
The circular economy, is that like where they make a product, they sell it, and then when you come up with something creative, they take that and then they sell that again?
Yes,
that's the circular economy?
Okay. All proceeds go to Rise Against Hunger.
Could they just give the money right to the...
Thank you.
Instead of like turning it into this whole... whatever this is.
Whatever. I gestures wildly at everything. Whatever.
Yeah, okay, that's ridiculous.
Thank you.
Que ridiculo.
Thank you.
Elizabeth, I got something for you.
I sure you do.
It is ridiculous. And I stress that.
Oh.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there have been many things poised to ruin America in the course of our hundreds of years of existence. I mean, so many things that we can list. That people worried and claimed this is going to threaten the young of America, ruin the fabric of our society. Today, I'd like to tell you about one of the most sinister, one of the most pernicious threats we've ever survived. Elizabeth, are you ready to discuss the life-changing threat, the democracy-wrecking threat of comic books?
Oh, wow.
This is Ridiculous Crime, a podcast about absurd and outrageous capers, heists, and cons. It's always 99% murder-free and 100% ridiculous. Our story starts in 1940. That's when there was a Chicago newspaper that wanted to do the good thing and warn its readers that, quote, Superman heroics, voluptuous females in scanty attire, blazing machine guns, hooded justice, and cheap political propaganda were to be found on almost every page. What, mind you, could they be talking about? Of course, I've already told you the answer. Comic books. Now, this writer, this is talking to an America right before World War II. This is a different America than the America we know of, right? This is a isolationist America. This is an America that was basically had its head turned inward, if you will, from the world. And comic books was one of our favorite fantasies for the young and, you know, for the young at heart. And yet that scared people. There were these Supermans and these Wonder Womans that they just didn't understand what the kids saw in them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, they compared this to what they did know. And so the newspaper said, and I quote, "The old dime novels in which an occasional redskin bit the dust were classic literature compared to the sadistic drivel pouring from the presses today." So a genocide of a whole continent of people is good for children to read about, but somebody in spandex, that's ruining them.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
just to see where we're going with all of this. Okay. Now, the children of America, we've often hear this being they are the sheep who we have to worry about these wolves descending upon, right? Who will protect the kids? What about the kids? Think of the kids, Elizabeth. Now, this Chicago paper in 1940 had the exact same tone that you would recognize today. And I quote,
Okay.
"Unless we want a coming generation even more ferocious than the present one, parents and teachers throughout America must band together to break the comic magazine." Now, you don't typically hear about the ferocious 30s and 40s kids. I think the greatest generation turned out okay from what I understand. I don't know.
I mean, I think, weren't they all smoking when they were 11 years old?
Yeah, they had two
driving
jobs.
cars.
You'd be smoking too.
Yes.
Now, I will be honest. I can understand looking back why they may have been a little worried because, to be all the way real, there were comic books like one of the most popular characters at the time was a character named Lady Satan.
Oh.
And that sounds bad. Lady Satan. You're like, wait, Lady Satan. How can that be good for the kids, right? But you have to hear her side of the story, okay?
It's actually Lady Satan.
Yes, it's a whole misunderstanding. It's French. Lady Satan. Now, Lady Satan, all right? This innocent Lady Satan, just before she was to be married and become Lady Satan, she and her fiancé were on a boat that was attacked by Nazis. Nazis, Elizabeth.
Uh-oh.
She survived the boat wreck, but her fiancé, he did not. He perished. And in her fiancé's dying moments there in the wide expanse of ocean, Lady Satan was born. She swore to defeat the Nazis and Nazism. Lady Satan, Elizabeth, is basically the first Antifa superhero.
Why are you yelling at me? I didn't do it.
Look, this is my superhero voice, and I want you to understand these are serious times. So, Lady Satan.
Yes.
Your
you
new
rang.
nickname. You can see how the parents may get worried about that. They hear Satan and they go,
yeah, it doesn't sound so hot.
Yeah, but I mean, like the same time, or right around the same time, you're going to have the Hells Angels. It took them a little while to be afraid of the Hells Angels, and they were literally hitting people in the face.
They were literally angels from hell.
Now, this theme of like comic books being the greatest danger to America, obviously it pales in comparison to real fascism. So during the war years, you didn't see any of this talk of like, oh, the kids, the fascism, and the comic books, right? But as soon as the war is over, 1945, we get right back to it.
God.
Time magazine, of all people, publishes another screed against comic books. And you ready for this title, Elizabeth?
Yes.
The title was, "Are Comics Fascist?" Now,
I don't know. Well,
I'm just asking questions over here.
And then there's a yes, no, maybe. We have to like click check the box.
So the article featured a bevy of people, but the person that it really focused on was this dude, Ong, Walter J. Ong, O-N-G, right? He was a professor at this small college in Colorado, and he'd been writing articles mostly in religious things and in local Southwest magazines like Arizona Quarterly, right? Like in Arizona Quarterly, the headline for his article was, "Superman is a Nazi." Right?
Oh,
he got right to it.
Okay.
He wasn't like Time asking questions. He had decided, He
was declarative.
So in his article, "Superman is a Nazi," Ong had argued that, quote, "Everything is centered on one man, the leader, the hero, the duce, the Führer. Herd responses not being on the rational level, this hero does not appeal by argument. He builds on the herd's dreams. He hypnotizes. Thus did Hitler and Mussolini. The Superman of the cartoons is true to his sources."
That is a stretch.
Right? Exactly. No, he's totally like, people worry about like Antifa now. He was like worried about Fafa or whatever. I don't know. Whatever it is. He's convinced that the kids are going to go full fascist because of Wonder Woman and Superman.
He's like, I don't trust this Blake Spiderman.
Yeah, exactly. Blake Spiderman, DDS. So Ong, right? He focuses obviously on Superman, but I mean, the real focus for his vim and vigor is Wonder Woman, because of course he's also
It's a woman,
sexist.
yeah.
You knew, you saw it coming.
Yeah.
So he says, well, can you guess why Wonder Woman would be a threat to this guy?
Boobs.
Yeah, so I think that's one reason.
Is it because...
Well, what would he claim that the children would be ruined by Wonder Woman by?
Maybe like doesn't she have like an Amazon army?
Good call. Spot on.
There it is. It's either that or the invisible plane.
No, he didn't care about the technology so much. It was that, one, she swears by Zeus, which is clearly a violation of Judeo-Christian gods. Then,
Well, in Greek.
Yeah. She praised Aphrodite, which, according to Ong, is a Hitlerite paganism.
Good God. This guy needs to get out and touch grass.
He had on his side the creator of Wonder Woman, William Marston. Not like they weren't on the same side, but William Marston was saying stuff that would make you be like, these people are saying the same thing.
Yeah, I basically made her a Nazi.
Listen to this quote. So William Marston, he's
like, finally, someone understands Wonder Woman.
Yeah, exactly. Someone gets what I'm trying to drive at.
Like, oh no.
So Ong had basically, theorized that Wonder Woman is, as you pointed out, about this Amazonian matriarchy, and that's a threat, right? But Marston had said in his own quote that, and I quote, "Men actually submit to women now. They do it on the sly with a sheepish grin because they're ashamed of being ruled by weaklings. Give them an alluring woman stronger than themselves to submit to, and they'll be proud to become her willing slaves." Marston, man, come on. You're not helping anybody over here.
I love how everything has to be like one or the other.
Oh, yeah. No, totally.
God.
So Marston is basically going, yeah, feminazis are good. This guy, Ong's over here is going, man, feminazis are coming. But they both agree feminazis is the future. So this future of America did look bleak. And so by 1950s, all this tension that was bubbling up in the 40s starts to come to a rock and royal and bubble, right? Now, we know in the 50s, we think of, that's when all the conformity culture is there, and that's when you have the Red Scares. Well, there were more than one moral panic. And you end up having things like this TV show called Confidential File, which was hosted by serious journalist Paul Coates. Elizabeth, can you imagine what Paul Coates had to say in 1955 to the American people about comic books based on what you've heard up till now? And he's trying to go past that.
He's going past the Nazi thing?
Well, I would say past the Nazi thing. That's its own little thing. But past the idea of America be afraid of comic books. Look what they're doing to the kids.
Do you think there's subliminal messages?
That's close. That's close. Basically, his idea is that the real problem is not the comic books. It's you, the American people.
Of course.
So he's like, this problem is going on. Why does it exist? And he says,
the undesirable comic books haven't disappeared from the newsstands of this country. Why? I'll tell you exactly why. Because no action has been taken by the most powerful influence in America. The people. You.
So Elizabeth, I got to ask you, why aren't you protecting America? Like, why won't you just get off your duff and do something?
Because I'm tired. I'm so tired.
Well, I have no answers for you other than it's up to you. Like with the forest fires,
with me.
It's the same thing. I'm telling you, if it's... Anyway, you get the point.
You know what?
Basically...
I take care of myself.
This is the problem. And Ong was right. So this dude, this serious journalist, Paul Coates, right? He starts warning people about the economies that the kids are using to get these comic books, because he says, look, the kids aren't buying them all. They buy one comic book, and then they spread them around by sharing them with their friends. So they end up reading 10 comic books, but they only buy one. So the numbers are misleading. So there's this black market out there that he's telling people, parents mostly, to be worried about, that their kids are like, pushing comic books to each other like gateway drug pushers, right?
We don't want them to read.
Oh, I'm glad you bring that up. Because there's this scene where Paul Coates, the audience has to watch this group of 10 and 11-year-old boys. They're all from different ethnicities, economic stations, but it's mid-50s America. So they're all in like the big cuff blue jeans and the striped shirts. And they're all running out of their houses and out of their like tenement homes. And they go and they run to this place like it's under a tree. And then under this big tree, we see, and I quote,
when I was a boy and played with the gang, we did a lot of things. We roasted potatoes and went on expeditions.
What?
We tipped over garbage cans now and then. We wrote nasty remarks about the teacher on the sidewalk. But we never spent an afternoon sitting around like this, reading.
These hooligans roasting potatoes.
No, but he's talking about these kids are reading. And he says, and I continue.
But they're not reading anything constructive. They're reading stories devoted to adultery, to sexual perversion, to horror, to to the most despicable of crimes.
Sir, you weren't reading anything. You were
roasting potatoes
and knocking over trash cans.
He's mad that these kids are reading. He's literally making the case these kids should not be reading. So at this point in this news footage, we see this little kid. He's the tiniest kid in the group. He gets picked up by all the others. They fly him around. Then they hold him against a tree. Then they pull out matches and try to burn him. Then they pull out a pocket knife and they're going to cut him. And Syria's journalist, Paul Coates, is like,
I'm not suggesting that comic books instilled violence in the minds of these boys. I've never heard any responsible person suggest that. What I am suggesting is that crime and horror comic books stimulate outbursts of destructive violence that might otherwise have been channeled into much less antisocial activity.
Like potato roasting.
Yes, exactly. And
this Coates dude, I bet you he looks like he chews on his own toenails.
Oh, completely. He ends the big scene with...
Games like this have ended in death many times.
It's very 50s. You'll love it.
Games? What, just tossing the runt?
Well, they have the knife. They're holding the knife up to the kid's face, and they're taunting him with this pen knife. And he's like, games like this have ended in death many times. But then the last thing I'll tell you about this dude, Paul Coates, he has these panels of experts, and so he invites these people to tell American parents and school teachers why it's so dangerous. So the first expert he talks to is this guy, David Freeman.
Tell me how comic books make you feel, Dave.
Now, Dave, mind you, is an 11-year-old boy. And Dave says...
Well, it don't make me feel too good. A couple of times I read a comic book, I threw up.
I threw up.
Oh, God.
So that's what he's got, right? That's
this kid.
His scare tactic.
Is this one of those, I talked to my 3-year-old son, and he said, Daddy,
pretty much, yeah.
The hierarchy of capitalist society. You're like, no, that kid didn't.
No 3-year-old, yeah.
No.
He's got the kid on camera, and he's saying it, but the kid's clearly been coached. Okay, my question for you is simple, Elizabeth.
Yeah.
If not you, who will save the children of America from Superman and Wonder Woman?
Blake Spiderman.
Yeah, well, after this break, I'm going to tell you who will save America, and it ain't you.
No.
Now, Elizabeth, before the break, I asked you, who other than you should America turn to in order to save the children?
Not that Coates, man.
Yeah, and in our one corner, we had serious journalist Paul Coates, and in the other corner, we had Lady Satan.
I trust Lady Satan, quite frankly.
Well, I'll let you know that America chose differently. America turned its hopeful eyes to a team of geriatric men, many of whom were kids in the 1800s.
What?
That's right. The U.S. Senate Subcommittee on Comic Books.
Oh, man.
It is 1954, and so many of them were born in the 1800s.
There's a subcommittee on comic books.
Yes. Think of Joseph McCarthy's Red Scare, but for kids.
Oh, fun.
It was the social event of the season.
All the materials are written in crayon with a backwards letter every now and then.
I'm going to need that piece of paper. Our center stage character taking the role of Joseph McCarthy is Senator Estes Kefauver from Tennessee.
Wait, what's his last name?
Kefauver.
It sounds like you don't know how to say it, so you're just Kefauver.
Yeah. My name is Senator Estes Kefauver. Sir, do you know your own last name? Yes, I do. It's Kefauver.
I can't read it right here. It's
got an R in there somewhere. Now, Kefauver, he made fighting comic books his personal mission.
How do you spell this?
Kefauver? It's K-E-Fauver. F-A-U-V-E-R.
Kefauver.
Now, Kefauver, he had for his star witness, Mr. Dr. Frederick Wortham.
Dr. Frederick.
Dr. Frederick. Dr. Frederick Wortham, child psychologist.
Is he a child?
No,
he's a psychologist?
He's a psychologist is a child. No.
He's all made me throw up.
Now, Doogie Howser's based on me. So, no, he worked in a Harlem hospital, and he treated underprivileged children. And his research was integral to more than one 1954 media sensation, not just this case, but also for the Brown versus the Board of Education. He was integral to establishing a legal argument for why segregation was wrong. So this guy was about it at this time. People were listening to him often in Washington, right? So at that same time, he was out, in Washington at this point to testify on Capitol Hill about how the children's souls were being poisoned by Lady Satan. So he was an early and vocal advocate for children's well-being, and he also advocated for poor children. He was known for arguing for mentally challenged children as well, because he wanted all of them to be able to receive, wait for it, fair criminal trials.
Wow. Okay, wow. You just whipped the rug out from underneath me.
He didn't want any children not to have a fair criminal trial.
We have to prep them for the prison industrial complex.
Exactly. So he wrote a book called Seduction of the Innocent.
Oh,
and in it he made some wild claims, as one does when they want to sell a book like his. And he said such things like Superman, which is an anti-American fascist, which we've kind of covered. Mm-hmm. He also made claims about Batman and Robin, they hitting it? They dating, aren't they? Yeah, they're a couple, right? Like,
oh, wow.
That was like a whole chapter.
You're like, well, I don't know what's going on with you, dude.
So Wortham is our star witness for this Senate Subcommittee. And Elizabeth, I would like you to close your eyes.
Yes.
And picture it.
I will.
Okay. The year is 1954. You're in Washington, D.C. You're a hungry beat reporter, just a cub reporter sent by your editor to meet with First Lady Mamie Eisenhower.
Do I get one of those cool hats that says press?
Yeah, with the tag in it?
Yes.
Could just for the sake of I can imagine it better, could you do a quick impression of Mamie Eisenhower for me?
Oh, I do a really good Mamie Eisenhower.
Okay, I thought I heard you say that.
All right, hold on.
Okay.
Whew. Hey, everybody, it's me, Mamie Eisenhower. Get out of my way, I'm gonna drive in the car.
It's amazing. It's
right?
like Ike's ghost would be confused.
Yeah, it's uncanny. If I do say so myself, it's uncanny.
Uncanny. So, as you now are well aware, that's the voice of the lady who you are sent to cover, Mamie Eisenhower. And you're there to ask her about
She's got a beautiful voice.
Oh, amazing. Talk to her about garden parties and the lunches with the ladies of the Beltway. Mm-hmm. And on your way to meet Mamie Eisenhower, you see this gathering of crowd, this melee, a hullabaloo outside the Capitol Hill. Being a reporter, you're like, what's going on over there? So
I got a nose for news.
Yes, you do, girl. So you go heading over and you part through the crowd because you're all business. Mm-hmm. You get right into the Capitol, and then soon enough, you're carried by this wave of enthusiasm and action right into the Senate floor. And actually, you're above it. You're in the Senate gallery. They wouldn't let you onto the Senate floor.
Charge right in.
Right in there. Give me that gavel.
Meanwhile, there's a kid there who's testifying all,
11-year-old.
These comic books make me feel funny inside.
So you go and find your seat in the Senate gallery, the seats above, in the rotunda, and this raucous subcommittee is going on underway. You have Chairman Robert Hendrickson banging his gavel. He's making pronouncements about his subcommittee hearing and what the purposes will be. And then Chairman Hendrickson, he gives the floor to Senator Estes Kefauver from Tennessee. And he lays out the stakes of this case. And I quote, "The subcommittee is looking into violations of various federal laws, such as the Dyer Act, the Mann Act, violation of interstate commerce, and in connection with the subject matter." Now, Senator Estes Kefauver hams it up for the press and for all of you in the gallery, right? You're like, the Dyer Act, the Mann Act, what could he be talking about? What danger is America facing? And he keeps mentioning kids with the Mann Act. Now, Senator Estes Kefauver is not done. He's also going to do a little bit of naming names so that people know how serious he is. So Senator Kefauver, and I quote, "Mr. J. Edgar Hoover's report of yesterday shows that whereas the increase of population last year was 5%, crime had gone up 20%, and a particularly large increase was in connection with burglaries and stealing of automobiles. Interesting part is that the large part of the burglaries are committed by juveniles." Juveniles, Elizabeth.
Juveniles.
Now, Senator Estes Kefauver takes a moment and refreshes his Southern linguistics. You recognize this is a dramatic pause just for the news cameras to get a close-up of him, right? Your reporter instincts are fully piqued. You're still wondering what the Mann Act and the Dyer Act is going on, right? Now, since you're a good reporter, you know that the Dyer Act is the 1919 federal law that prohibits interstate commerce of stolen vehicles. If you take a stolen vehicle over state lines, boom, in violation of the Dyer Act. You're
right.
Like, okay, that explains the juveniles with the cars.
Yeah.
But where does the Mann Act come in? Because Being the cub reporter that you are, Elizabeth, sitting here in 2022, you may be confused. I don't know if you know the Mann Act, but mid-century Elizabeth, she knows that is in direct reference to the white slave trade.
Yep.
So, plucky reporter that you are, you're like, white slave trade in comic books. I'm not seeing it, Senator. But the senator is not answering questions to you, Miss Elizabeth, so he doesn't have to tell people what the Mann Act and the white slave trade has to do with comic books. Instead, he just insinuates.
Oh,
the other senators, they go and they ask him, but, sir, what about Edgar Allan Poe, which when I was a boy, I used to read the stories of Edgar Allan Poe, and he's like, well, yeah. Now, some of the senators, they're like, when I liked Edgar Allan Poe, there were stories about, all sorts of crimes and criminality, but none of the boys went around like walling up the neighbor kid in the basement.
Oh, God.
So I don't see the issue. What's changed for today's kids, right?
Good question.
Right? Super solid question. And luckily we have Dr. Wortham here to answer it. It is said that children from secure homes are not affected, Mr. Chairman. As long as the crime comic books industry exists in its present form, there are no secure homes. You cannot resist infantile paralysis in your home alone. You must take into account the neighbor's children. You see, it's not just you, Elizabeth.
It's the neighbors. Wait, aren't most of these comic book cats crime fighters?
Yeah, but you have to have a crime to fight it, don't you?
Right.
And so they're worried that these kids are focused on the crime.
They're doing things to hope that Superman comes down.
And they're getting the message of, here's how you kidnap a woman and tie her up to the railroad tracks, like in case they want to do that.
They're trying to summon
Yeah, they
Superman.
don't want any kind of copycat crimes, like no using your X-ray vision goggles, kids. So, Elizabeth.
Zaron.
Mid-century Elizabeth knows where I'm coming from on this. Now,
she knows everything.
Yeah, but when
I know nothing.
You may hear the words of Dr. Wortham and be confused, but I'll just lay out another quote for you. Mid-century Elizabeth would get this. Okay, but you try to stick with me.
Slow bird, yeah.
And Wortham said, and I quote, I would like to point out to you one other crime comic book we have found to be particularly injurious to the ethical development of children, and those are the Superman comic books. They arouse in children fantasies of sadistic joy in seeing other people punished over and over again while you yourself remain immune. We have called it the Superman complex. So there's your answer.
So joy and punishment.
Yeah.
He's punishing the criminals. You're stoked because it's not you because you're not a criminal.
I don't think you see it, future Elizabeth.
No, I don't.
It's right there in front of you. Don't you see it? Superman, Uberman, Deutschland, Über alles. It's right there. It's just a road to fascism.
You know what I have to say to that?
Mm-hmm.
Lady Satan, Lady Satan.
Well, he wants you to know that, and I quote Dr. Wortham, in these comic books, the crime is always real. Then Superman's triumph over good is unreal. Moreover, these books, like any other, teach complete contempt of the police. For instance, they show you pictures where some preacher takes two policemen and bangs their heads together. Or to quote from all these comic books you can call a policeman a cop and he won't mind. But if you call him copper, that is a derogatory term. And these boys, we teach them to call policemen coppers.
I just can't.
You can't with it, can you?
I can't.
You're not ready for the 50s, Elizabeth.
There's such a logic chasm going on here.
Oh, dude. Well, the thing is, it's like, okay, my mother was alive in the 50s, and I remember a joke that she told me from this time. She was a schoolgirl, and she used to have a joke. When they'd be sitting there at the school bus stop, and a cop would drive by, one of the kids just would shout, "What are old pennies made out of?" And these kids are all like 7, 8. They would look at the cop and yell, "Dirty copper!" Right? So that is like what he's basically describing. My mother went on to become a school teacher. I don't think that
Did she read a lot of Lady Satan?
She loved Lady Satan. That's her favorite. She's got a poster still up in her room.
One of her posters.
So Senator Kefauver is not like, he's like, this guy, Dr. Wortham, who I brought in, he's stealing up all the crazy air. I need to get some of this for myself, right? So he's like, if I'm going to get any headlines, I'm going to need to move beyond this whole fascism, Nazis. We beat the Nazis. We got new concerns. So what does he do? He pushes it down the road. Senator Kefauver, and I quote, "While you're on that subject, Dr. Wortham, may I see that thing? Anybody who opposes comic books is a red. Dr. Wortham, yes, that is part of it, because the comic book industry had apparently accused Dr. Wortham of being a communist, which is patently ludicrous.
Amazing.
Right? So Senator Kefauver then says, you know what, I'm not done. We need to get this two-man crazy train further down the tracks. Next stop, Hitler. He's like, back it up, sir. Senator Kefauver, would you like in this situation you talk about showing that same thing over and over again till they finally believed it, to what we heard about during the last war of Hitler's theory that they tell the same story over and over again? Now, Chairman Hendrickson, he jumps in. He's like, the big lie technique. Dr. Wortham jumps on the spot. Well, I hate to say that, Senator, but I think Hitler was a beginner compared to the comic books industry.
What?
They get the children much younger. They teach them race hatred at the age of 4 before they can even read.
What?
Exactly. The train is so far off the rails, it's no longer a train.
Oh
now
my God.
It's just detritus.
So can mid-century Elizabeth go down and just start slapping, just slap sense into him? Kefauver
Senator Estes Kefauver.
He sounds like the way you're doing it. Sounds like he lives on just drinking watered down molasses. This is full sustenance.
Pretty close.
Yeah.
Just throwing maybe a little whiskey in that water.
This is making no sense.
Well, Elizabeth,
I'm so confused.
So not only are Wonder Woman and Superman teaching the American children to hate cops, and they're also primed for fascism, and they have the whole race hatred in their hearts, and they're looking around for a new Hitler, but they're also against America. So not only are they supporting fascism, but they're not down for mom and dad and apple pie. I don't think you understand this.
No, I do not. I absolutely do not understand this.
We're going to take a short break. And after the short break, we're going to meet the man who's willing to stand up for comic books and your lady Satan.
Oh, thank God.
Now, Elizabeth,
Zaron,
you were up on Capitol Hill, sent there to meet with Lady Mamie Eisenhower, First Lady Mamie Eisenhower.
Lady Satan.
Satan Eisenhower.
Yeah.
Yes. Now, you spotted that hullabaloo going down. You went into the Senate. You saw the Senate Subcommittee. You saw Dr. Wortham and Senator Estes Kefauver.
I ditched Mamie. She's still waiting.
Well, you're still in the Capitol Rotunda, and you're still in the Senate chambers, and you're still in the gallery in time to see William Gaines, our anti-hero, take the stage. He is the publisher of Entertaining Comics Group.
Okay.
Now, you may not know them now, but they were the first comic book company, essentially.
Huh.
And it's a family company, one that he's now inherited from his dad. And under his new young leadership, he's decided, let's do horror comics.
Oh, why not?
I love those. I want some more crime stories. And so he's making stories that are not just for young kids, but for teens and for young adult readers. He's basically doing YA before it exists.
Okay.
It becomes wildly successful, especially the horror comics. He also prints biblical comics.
Wait, horror?
Horror, like scary.
Yeah, I wanted to just double check on that.
Not horror comics. Sex worker comics, Elizabeth, for the children? No.
Just horrors.
They're biblical stories with sex workers. It's a Mary Magdalene series of comic books.
I just thought it was like whores going out and fighting crime.
Whores.
Bunch of whores. No offense to whores. Gotta love a whores bath.
No, all of us in this show, we support the whores.
Good for him.
No,
Good
we're definitely pro-sex worker. We all know this. Now, this guy, William Gaines, he's unafraid to speak his mind because he is unafraid of the imagination of the American kids. He's also unafraid of a row of old geriatric senators. He's young. He's got all sorts of confidence. Also, he's high on speed. Yeah, so, well...
Fun fact.
Yeah, so he had this scheduled Senate testimony, so he got hopped up on some speed pills, right? And they rescheduled it and pushed him after lunch. So now the speed is draining out of his system, and he's going through amphetamine withdrawals when he takes the stage.
A little bit of a come down.
So I would like you to focus on this young, cocky, 32-year-old comic book heir publisher with a nasty speed habit.
Meth addict.
So Mr. Gaines introduces himself, and I quote, I'm here as a voluntary witness. I asked for and was given this chance to be heard. 2 decades ago, my late father was instrumental in starting the comic magazine industry. He edited the first few issues of the first modern comic magazine, Famous Funnies. My father was proud of the industry he helped found. He was bringing enjoyment to millions of people, right? So he starts
Famous
off,
Funnies,
boom,
right there.
Just solid. He's like, look, this is family
He
business.
was name dropping.
Yeah, exactly. I'm about this. I was first. Where were you then? You know,
Famous
people are like,
Funnies, everybody.
So he then admits, he's like, look, I'm culpable. And I quote, I am responsible. I started them. Some may not like them. This is a matter of personal taste. And what he's referring to is the horror comic books that are really offending people, right?
Yeah.
And while he's at it, he also wants to take a little shot at Dr. Wortham. So he says, it would be just as difficult to explain the harmless thrill of a horror story to a Dr. Wortham as it would be to explain the sublimity of love to a frigid old maid.
Oh, ouch. Zing.
Yeah, exactly. Someone came loaded for bear. So young dude Gaines, he's like, the Senate Subcommittee of Geriatrics and your hound dog, Dr. Wortham, I ain't afraid of this, right? So he starts launching into society, being a citizen in a free society. And what does this mean, right? And I quote, our American children are for the most part normal children. They are bright children, but those who want to prohibit comic magazines seem to see dirty, sneaky, perverted monsters who use the comics as a blueprint for action. What are we afraid of? Are we afraid of our own children? Do we forget they are citizens too? And entitled to select what to read or what to do? We think our children are so evil, simple-minded, that it takes a story of murder to set them to murder, a story of robbery to set them to robbery. So you can see he's trying to basically breathe a little reality back into these proceedings, right?
It's a great argument.
How well do you think it goes?
Not too well.
Well,
unfortunately, I know how these things work.
He doesn't give up because now he makes his real solid, timeless point, which is the truth is that delinquency is the product of real environment in which the child lives and not of the fiction he reads. There are many problems that reach our children today. They are tied up with insecurity. No pill can cure them. No law will legislate them out of being. The problems are economic and social, and they are complex. Our people need understanding. They need to have affection, decent homes, decent food. Now, these pleas that he's throwing before the Senate Subcommittee, they're like, none of these are good for headlines. None of these are good for firing up my base. So I'm going to ignore everything you're saying. Yeah. And they do, right? So this falls on deaf ears, right? Now, as the amphetamine is draining away from his brain, because he's on a good roll at first, right? He's still got a good head of speed going, and then it pretty much starts to you can watch it the level in his eyes falling down, right? So by this point, he's about half eye level full of speed, right? And he starts making mistakes, right? Because after he makes his opening remarks, the senators can start questioning him. And that's where he starts stepping into all sorts of potholes. And one of the first things that he says is a big mistake is, and I quote, my only limits are the bounds of good taste, what I consider good taste. You know where that's going to go.
Yes.
So they jump on this good taste into Senator Estes Kefauver.
Oh, get out of here, dude.
Yeah, he sees this as his opportunity, seizes on it, and he's like, picks up a comic book, starts waving it around. He's like, here's your May 22nd issue. This seems to be a man with a bloody axe holding a woman's head up, which has been severed from her body. Do you think that is in good taste? Now, Gaines, he's got to be like, well, yes, sir, I do. For the cover of a horror comic, yeah. A cover in bad taste, for example, might be defined as holding the head a little higher so that the neck could be seen dripping blood from it, and moving the body over a little further so that the neck of the body could be seen to be bloody. And Senator Kefauver goes, you have blood coming out of her mouth. A little, Senator. And Senator Kefauver, here is blood on the axe. I think most adults are shocked by that. And boom, here's the rub. What upsets most adults is not what upsets most kids. And this is what they're basically arguing. Gaines is like, the kids see this as ludicrous. You're the only ones who are like, that could be my head on that axe. Right. So the Senate Subcommittee, it just keeps going off the rails. Gaines is allowed to leave. And they kind of realize that they're not going to be able to scare the American people they want. It lasts 2 days. They have another hearing in June. So the first ones are April 21st, 22nd, another June 1st. Boom, the summer happens. Kids are let out. So now you're not going to be able to scare the parents anymore. You don't really want to scare them because they're out where they can't see them. So that was only good and useful when they were school children, when you could be wagging a finger, right? Now, the comic book code, though, they're worried about their wallet. They're like, oh, we got to get on this. So they come up with the comic book code. And the comic book code is this stamp you can put on a comic book that says it's following all these rules, which the comic book publishers come up with so they can self-police. What do you think they come up with as rules, Elizabeth?
I don't know. The height of the head dripping blood on the cover. I sympathize on behalf of all those who drop gross outs all the time.
Right? You know? It's like, look, I'm being cartoonish. I'm being cartoonish.
When I say gross things on this show, in my head, it's a cartoon.
Mm-hmm.
But some people hear it and take it very literally.
Well, Senator Estes Kefauver has an issue with what you do, Miss Elizabeth.
I got issues with him. Well, I'll see him outside.
I'll see him after class. So I'll just run you out a couple. There's a lot of rules, so I won't tell you all of them.
Yeah.
But they basically go into like, one, crime shall never be presented in a way as to create sympathy for the criminal, blah, blah, blah.
Well,
right?
that knocks us out of here.
Yeah, we're done. Another one, policemen, judges, government officials, and respected institutions shall never be presented in such a way as to create disrespect for established authority, blah, blah, blah. Right?
Wait, how bootstepping is that? Okay, whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Another one, criminals should not be presented as to be rendered glamorous, right?
Well,
yeah, exactly. So, like, apparently they think children are dumb, and they gotta be like, oh, we gotta make sure kids aren't confused. I don't know. Like, kids are savvier than adults generally.
My mother always used to tell me that you're at your absolute smartest at 8 years old.
Yes, I would completely agree because you're paying the most attention,
and it's been for me downhill ever since then.
Just a steady slide.
I peaked at 5.
Oh, well, I feel for you, girl.
Thanks.
The comic codes, right? They don't just have rules just for the heroes and heroines about like, oh, for crime. It's also about how they live because it's the 50s.
Yeah.
So there's rules like, if in case Superman gets a divorce, here's how you show it, right?
What?
The rules are like, divorce shall not be treated humorously nor represented as desirable.
But it's so funny.
It is, and desirable. And there's also the romance stories, right? Because like, what if before Superman gets divorced, he's got to have some love time. So he and Lois are like having their love time. I'm trying to put this in Senator Estes Kefauver's language, right? Well, you have to emphasize the value of the home and the sanctity of marriage. Now, I don't know if they mean the economic value of the home or just like it feels good to own a home.
It's a home ownership.
I think they mean the latter. Yeah,
they're championing home ownership.
Like, what kind of what interest rates are we getting these years, kids? Do you know the answers? You should. One rule that was prominently listed amongst these guidelines, which seems to have fallen somehow out of favor with all these other ones, like respect the law, don't show criminals are bad, don't show Superman getting a divorce and being happy about it. Here's the one rule that they left out because it's in there. It's like high up on the list. Females shall be drawn realistically without exaggeration of any physical qualities.
Yeah, they really stuck to that one.
So, I'm not complaining. As a former teenage boy, I'm not complaining. I was like, look, I get it. I can see why you did it. I bought the comics.
None of them had stretch marks. Wonder Woman was
tiger stripes, Elizabeth. Well, when all was said and done, right? Coming out of the 50s, the comic code basically saves the comic industry, and then all these small publishers and independent publishers, the big ones emerge. We get DC Comics, which was originally Action Comics, becomes DC. Marvel Comics emerges. And you get these people like the familiar names, Stan Lee, Jack Kirby. They come out and they become the comic book industry. Well, Stan Lee ended up having to battle with this dude, Dr. Wortham, for much of his early career. And even in his autobiography, he takes a couple shots at Dr. Wortham.
Why not?
And I quote, "To me, Wortham was a fanatic, pure and simple. I used to debate with him, which was fun because I usually won, but that was rarely publicized. He once claimed he did a survey that demonstrated that most of the kids in reform schools were comic book readers. So I said to him, if you do another survey, you'll find that most of the kids who drink milk are also comic book readers. Should we ban milk?" His arguments were patently sophistic, and there I'm being charitable, but he was a psychiatrist, so people listened.
Wow.
Boom, Stan Lee.
Good argument.
Yeah, so the thing, though, that really saved comic books wasn't all this hype and everything. It was TV.
Yeah.
Interestingly enough, Superman was a huge hit on TV. So from 52 to 58, Superman's a hit. And eventually that meant that the Human Torch and Captain America and all these familiar comic books, Wonder Woman, they all get new runs in the 50s, right? And we see that the superhero starts to become a staple of American culture, which I know you love because you're always like, hey, there's a new comic book movie. When can we go? But the comic book culture...
no idea what any of those things are.
I like hearing you say them because you'll mishmash them together.
Yeah.
What's with the Flash Man? Is that new movie coming out? Dr. Flash Man?
Blake Spiderman.
Yeah, DDS. Local dentist. So the Hollywood movies and streaming, which you love, with all the superheroes, we wouldn't have any of that without this big period in time in the late 50s, early 60s, and specifically one hero saved comic books. And it's not Superman, not Batman, not Wonder Woman, none of the ones you would think of. Can you guess who it was?
Saved comic books.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if you will, because you don't really like comic books.
Was it the Hulk?
No, not a bad guess. The Flash.
Oh, Flash.
Different Flash, but this is the Flash with the article in front. That's Flash Gordon.
Okay, whatever.
Yeah,
They're
30s.
Related. They're cousins.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, well, it's the same they were. I like that.
They are. I wrote them.
Yeah, Ming the Merciless says so. So
sure.
Yeah,
I have no idea what
he was
you
a
meant by
villain
that.
in them.
Okay,
yeah,
sure.
Anyway, so the Flash is like this hero for the atomic age. So everybody's like all super cool with this because
the Flash.
The Flash. The fastest runs real fast, red outfit. I pointed him out yesterday to you.
But like the Flash, I am become death, destroyer of worlds.
Not
Flash?
that one. No, not the Oppenheimer. Like, no. So the Flash's popularity. Let's just pretend you know who he is.
Okay,
he runs real fast. He's a superhero who runs real fast.
Got it.
Like a Flash. Like a flash went by.
Okay.
See that flash go by? There you go. Okay, see, now you're with me. So
I'm with it. I got it.
The Flash is so popular that it's because he's a young hero. He's a teenager. So then we get Spider-Man, your guy, and then the Fantastic Four and Fantastic Four is probably before Spider-Man, and the Four Tops, the Temptations, X-Men. So yeah. So now there was one other force that really helped cement the superhero era into what we know of it today. Do you know? Can you guess who that was? Who was a real person? Not the Flash.
I was going to say like merchandising, toys.
No, you know this person.
Personally?
I often mention them.
I know him personally or no?
Dick Nixon.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Dick Nixon. My man, Dick Nixon. The year is 1970. Nixon's like hearing about all this kerfuffle about comic books. It just keeps kicking along. And so the comic code is like, you know what? I think we need to get a message out to the kids. They still read comic books, right? Well, and he calls up Marvel. He calls up Stan Lee. He's like, I want you to put out a comic book. And he's like, okay, well, Dick Nixon, what do you want me to put out the comic book about? Drugs.
What was his thing?
Nixon wants a drug storyline in a Marvel comic book.
Awesome.
And Stan Lee's like, I don't know if I can do that. So he goes to the comic codes. He's like, look, President Nixon's on my case. He wants a storyline about drugs. And they're like, you can't do that. Don't fall for it. It's a trap. He's trying to, it's Nixon. He's tricky. Don't do it. Stan Lee's like, I trust him. He called me on my home phone. It's fine. Nixon's like, Stan, any update on the drug comic book? I really want to read it. And so Stan Lee's like, goes back to comic code. We got to do this. They're like, you can't do it. So he's like, I'm doing it. So Stan Lee decides to do it anyway, takes the comic book code off the front comic book, puts out his drug storyline in a Spider-Man comic book, a very famous one, and it's all about like drugs, and Nixon's just stoked.
What is like
great story.
It's like the Flash injecting doobies into his
Spider-Man. No, not the Flash. No injecting doobies. No snorting rails of the pot.
So wait, does Spider-Man get a pill habit?
No,
he's all sparkle neely.
It's like all pissed off. Spider-Man needs his go-go juice if you want any crime spot around here.
Spider-Man's hopped up on goofballs, and he has an agenda.
Spider-Man ain't in the mood to fight crime unless he gets a little bit for Spider-Man.
He's all itching himself.
Yeah, scratching. So the other one, DC gets jealous. They're like, we want Dick Nixon to like us too. So then they do a drug plot line the next year. It's about Green Arrow's buddy, Speedy. And Speedy gets a heroin habit.
So, slows it down.
Yeah, didn't see that coming. You're like, Speedy, I know. Nope,
it's got
heroin.
The old speedball.
Dick Nixon loved it. Great comic book. So Dick Nixon's all excited. So by 2001, all of this, like Nixon's gone, so we don't worry about him anymore.
Bye.
But the comic book code is on its last legs because Marvel pulls out and says, look, we don't need this comic book code nonsense anymore. That's some mid-century, like, fossil stuff. And
we're going full frontal.
DC's like, well, we're going to stick with you. And Archie Comics says, we're still with you. And so Archie Comics and DC, they stay for another 10 years. And by 2011, they're like, okay, sorry, we gotta go. And so then everybody leaves. Comic Code becomes defunct.
And Goofus and Gallant are standing there all by themselves.
Exactly. I guess it's just us. So I don't want to leave you wondering,
Please
but
don't.
Senator Estes Kefauver.
Yeah, what happened to him?
You're like, what happened? Did he ever make anything of himself? I don't remember that name. Well, Elizabeth, he did run for president. Because I told you, comic books were an easy headline. He wanted all that press. Well, it was because he was eyeing the big office in Washington. So in 56, he goes as VP, gets on the ticket with Adlai Stevenson. Another name a lot of people probably don't know because he lost big big to Ike and to Dick Nixon.
Right.
So Dick and Ike beat the pants off of Senator Estes Kefauver and Adlai Stevenson.
Drowned his sorrows in his molasses.
Now, the big winner in all of this is publisher William Gaines and his speed habit. Remember him?
Oh, yeah.
So during his speed-fueled fight on Capitol Hill, he decided, you know what, this is not the business for me. And he left comic books pretty much like the next year. And he said, to hell with the comic books code. I can see the future. I don't want a part of it, right? Now, can you guess what he got into?
Porn.
Good guess.
Oh.
Practically. Not exactly. He did found a new era in publishing. He became the publisher for Mad Magazine.
Oh,
and
no
each
way.
month that in his new magazine, he openly mocked all of the powers that be, both in culture, Washington, everywhere. And it was a wildly popular magazine for decades and a big part of the underground culture that would come to flourish in the 60s and the 70s.
Yeah.
So he got his wish. He was still hyping the kids. And then by then it was the teenagers. And so he was getting them to like not go to war and do all the things. So he really was able to continue his fight. So William Gaines kept at it.
Wow. So we probably wouldn't have Mad Magazine if it weren't for Kefauver.
Senator Estes Kefauver, you're welcome, Elizabeth.
Thanks, dude.
So what's our ridiculous takeaway for today?
Comic books and drugs, dude. I don't know. My ridiculous takeaway is that I get so frustrated with illogical arguments like this that I just shut down.
Yeah.
And then also, I know absolutely nothing about comic books.
I know. That's why I like telling you this one. I was like waiting for you to be like, wait, is the Thing in this? Is because you like the Thing, right?
I don't know. What
is he the one with the brain? You like the Hulk?
No, I don't really. You know what I like is the, what's the hammer guy?
Thor.
Yeah, I like the funny hammer guy movies.
Yeah. The funny hammer guy movies.
Those are the ones that I like.
Haven't you only seen one of them?
Yeah.
So the funny hammer guy movie.
Yeah, the funny hammer guy movie. I pluralized it. I should not have. And I think I've seen the Robert Downey Jr.'s.
The Iron Man.
Yeah, I saw one of those.
The knight in the metal suit guy.
Yeah, I like a good redemption story. So like Robert Downey Jr.'s redemption story.
So not Iron Man, but Robert Downey Jr.'s personal story.
I don't remember what happened in the movie.
They're
I know
both
that
redeemed.
Gwyneth Paltrow was in it, and I just, I
not a fan.
No,
not into the Goop Nation.
No, but I do like funny hammers.
Well, I'm so happy for you. The Senator Estes Kefauver could be a small part in your happiness. Now, for me, it's the irony.
Share.
And I'm glad you asked, Elizabeth. Look, they were concerned about comic books because they thought they were too dangerous for kids, right? And they're worried about they imagined all these horrors, right? So really they were afraid of their own imaginations. But the comic book publishers were focused on making more marketable, squeaky clean comic book heroes. So eventually they ended up making the world that we now have because they said these are not good. Whereas if they let them just do what they would have done, the market would have most likely changed. And we may not be in this comic book drenched culture we live in today.
That's interesting, yeah.
So they did the ultimate Streisand effect where they're complained about it so much it took over the culture in a sense. Now, thanks, Senator Estes Kefauver.
Well, and they're cutting funding so that we have falling literacy rates. We don't have adequate education. We're not giving kids a sense of curiosity in their schoolwork. And the one thing that they're doing on their own time of reading,
that they're engaging with or excited about,
having expansive curiosity, no, squash it.
Yeah, let's not have them engage with stuff.
No, we have to dumb the American mind. They're malleable. Also, now I'm getting all frustrated again.
If you have a moral panic, right away, you have failed. And I know that many people are like, what do you mean a moral panic? Moral panics are essentially a good thing. We have to have morals. That's not what I'm talking about. The panic is the problem because they're dealing with a made-up problem. Because you don't need a Senate Subcommittee to solve these types of problems. That's just theater. I mean, that's just purely for Senator Estes Kefauver to run for president, right? But if something is really a big, bad, monstrous concern that is going to threaten America, or let's just make it more personal, it's going to threaten you, right? No one needs to work hard to scare you because if it is a real threat, let's say it's fire, all you need to do is point at the fire and say, fire.
Yeah.
And the person knows, if you have respect for a person, we know what endangers us. Now people are like, oh, well, what about climate change? Or people are arguing about that. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about clear, imminent dangers where people are talking about this is going to happen. And they're arguing as if this is happening right now. We're not talking about down the road. I'm saying these people are talking about panics the way they often do. And then we have to take action right now. And when they do that, what do we get? More comic book movies. Because the moral panic wasn't the problem to solve.
They're bringing down Hollywood.
Yeah.
They're ruining independent filmmaking.
I think we need to convince them that books are ruining America, and we can see if we can save publishing.
I don't know if that can be done.
I don't think it can.
Publishing is ruining publishing.
I know there's multiple problems here.
Right, yeah.
I'm not a senator, and I've never played one. Anyway, that's my story for you, Elizabeth. Thank you for listening.
Thank you for sharing that. That was really lovely.
That's all I have for you.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for joining us. I am Elizabeth Zaron Burnett.
I'm the Flash.
You can find us online at Ridiculous Crime on Twitter and on Instagram. You got a tip for us? Well, just write a postcard, send it to your local police station, and tell them to contact us.
Try sending it general delivery to Ridiculous Crime, Oakland, California, and see what happens.
Ooh, I'm into that.
It's not going anywhere.
Well, we'd like to hear about your crimes, so email us. That's probably the best way. You can do it at ridiculouscrime@gmail.com.
Yes.
Thanks for listening. Catch you next time. Ridiculous Crime is hosted by Elizabeth Dutton and Zaron Burnett. Produced and edited by Jack Kirby Truther, Dave Kustin. Research is by our star witness for the Ridiculous Crime Senate Subcommittee, Marissa Brown. Our theme song is by Dr. Doom's beatmaker, Thomas Lee, and Spider-Man's former DJ, Travis Dutton. Executive producers are Ben, I'm Wonder Woman, Bolin, and I wanted to be Wonder Woman, Brown.
Ridiculous crime.
Say it one more time.
Ridiculous crime.
Ridiculous Crime is a production of iHeartRadio. For more podcasts from iHeartRadio, visit the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your favorite shows.